My friends, we have reached the end step here at Dublin at Pro Tour Aether Revolt. Rich Hagan alongside Ian Duke and Gabby Sparks here at the news desk. In the background, every Latin American player going nuts because Lucas Escobar is your champion of Pro Tour Aether Revolt, defeating Marcio Carvalho by 3-2. So it's time to put a bow on proceedings, guys and girls. And why don't we start with card of the weekend? Gabby, I think this is actually pretty straightforward in the end.
Heart of Kiran. No way around it. It was an all-star, and it was so good for vehicles. You know, there was a big question about how good vehicles would be with Smuggler's Copter being banned, and it's great. It was fantastic.
Yep. Ian, from your point of view, it felt like there was quite a lot going on with Heart of Kiran. It wasn't as straightforward as it just was big and it attacked. There was lots to the hoops that you put to make people jump through were really evident in the gameplay, and there were some cool tricks with it as well.
Yeah, it really shaped the metagame both in the way that decks built around Heart of Kiran and the way that decks built against Heart of Kiran. So in particular, the crew cost of 3 was really instrumental in forcing players to think about, you know, their creature base and the way they built it. Toolcraft Exemplar and Scrap Heap Scrounger being premier ways to crew it, but also Veteran Motorist putting in a lot of work as well. And then the package with Gideon Ally of Zendikar was really where this card shines so much. They're just, you know, not only is Gideon a tremendously powerful card, but there are so many synergies there. You can turn Gideon into a creature, use him to crew the Heart of Kiran. You can spend Gideon's loyalty to crew the Heart of Kiran. You can even do that on your opponent's turn, so you can attack and block both. Just so many different things you can do there. And then playing against Heart of Kiran, that's where we saw cards like Fatal Push being at a premium, Sky Whaler Shot, Fragmentize, just so much consideration given to that card. Grasp of Darkness as well. And then even people setting up their decks with Mind Rack Demon and Ether Sphere Harvester to try to beat it.
Just coming in, by the way, from down on the floor, apparently the chant that we're hearing in the background, Aha Uhal o Pro Tour e Nosso, translates as, Aha, Uhul, the Pro Tour is ours. It's kind of, I think that's pretty nailed it down, all in all.
The cheer used to be, we are going to win the Pro Tour, so that's pretty cool. That
so they've just they moved it along.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. All right, for a match of the weekend, well, it does feature our winner, but initially doesn't feature him winning. This is Lucas Escobar 2 against Dimitris Triantifilou of Greece, part of the Confla Greece team. What went on here, Gabby? Because this is an interesting one.
This was a really interesting one. So this was Lucas playing for top 8. And the pressure is high. I mean, you can see this is at the point at which the players are playing their cards in their hand, gets a little bit shaky, you know, they're a little nervous. And there were a couple of misplays in the first game. Triantifilou, he leaves himself dead on board if Lucas successfully attacks with all these creatures. He just has to attack with all these creatures. He animates the Needle Spires, is gonna attack, and just attack with everything except the Needle Spires. Right.
So you might think this is a story about someone being not good at Magic, but it isn't. This is a story about someone not minding that they made a game-losing mistake and having the will to come back in and then get themselves over the hump because they were still alive at the point at which they'd lost that game 1.
Yeah, I just can't, it's hard to imagine, you know, being in round 16 of the Pro Tour, you're winning in match and then turning what should be a 1-0 lead for you into an 0-1 deficit, and then now staring down, okay, I have to win both of the next 2 games or else my tournament career is at an end here. But sure enough, you know, Lucas was able to pull it out and win those next 2 games, and you know, the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, and things just turn on the smallest moments, and that was an on-camera one and really obvious, but boy, did he ever take it to the line once he got past that. Now, what about our team of the weekend? Well, of course, Dex Army and Dexter did fantastically well, having both finalists, but this is our team. It's MTG Mint Card, because thanks to the man second from the left, that's Eduardo Sanchkalik, who made it all the way to the semi-finals, Team MTG Mint Card lead the team tournament. Ian, the teams have been awesome this weekend.
They have been awesome. I've had the pleasure of, you know, talking to a number of players throughout the tournament, seeing how their testing went, seeing, you know, who they tested with, and just asking them, you know, what do you think of the new team series? And just universally lauded. You know, they loved it. There's just so much excitement knowing that you're going into a tournament playing not just for yourself, but for, you know, 5 of your best buddies, and every point that you earn counts for that whole group, even if you're not top any in the tournament.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. So our team of the weekend and the leaders in the team series are MTG Mint Card. Well, doesn't take much detective work, no clues needed for who our player of the weekend is. It is, of course, our champion, Lucas Esperberto of Brazil. He's talking with Brian David Marshall.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Pro Tour Aether Revolt champion, newly minted Platinum Pro, Lucas Esperberto. Lucas, what is going through your head right now? How are you feeling?
Thanks, Brian. This is like a dream coming true. I'm very excited about everything, and glad I could have fun today playing Magic and share it with my friends.
I mean, having fun today, you're having a day a weekend, really, that almost no one has ever had at this level. Very few players can say that they've gone on a 12-0 winning streak in Constructed. What has been the secret to your success in the standard format? If I want to pick up Mardu vehicles and take it to Grand Prix Pittsburgh next week, tell us what we need to know.
Okay, so the deck is awesome. Go ahead, copy the list, have fun. And the best part about it is the sideboard. You get to go a little bigger than green-black decks, a little bigger than other Mardu decks with your Skyship and your removal spells. And I felt like favored doing all my sideboard games. And it's also good against control because you don't have to commit a lot of resources to stopping Saheli combo, and you have Scrap Heap to coming back from the graveyard. So it's a solid deck all around, and I think it's going to be great forward.
Okay, now have you been practicing your signature?
My signature?
Your signature, because you're going to be asked to sign a lot of Release the Gremlins for the rest of your career. How, we were watching that match swing back and forth. When did you feel like the advantage had swung back to you? That Release the Gremlins was just amazing.
Yeah, I knew I had to save a removal spell for the Skyship, because that game looked like it would go long. In a long game, you have to deal with Skyship or lose. So when I had 2 removal spells, I could use the first one freely and could keep holding Release the Gremlins to get a 2-for-1, and it was great that time. That's a card that we found doing playtesting, and it's awesome.
Now, you come into this tournament an RPTQ winner.
Yeah.
This is how you qualified to get here. You get to be a member of one of the big testing teams. You get to work with Dex Third, and you get to round 16. And this is a huge round.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on such a big stage as you were on at that moment?
Oh no, nothing close.
So please walk us through your mental state, your emotionals, and how you were able to come out on top in that match, because it was such a swingy match in terms of results.
Yeah, at first I was a little upset because I got paired down. I couldn't draw into the top 8, so I had to play. And I think that threw me off a little bit. And in game 1, I played horribly. I made several mistakes. I threw the game away. And the way I found my confidence back for games 2 and 3 was trusting my sideboard, because I knew that sideboard, despite how badly I played, I still would have a shot. So the deck's also a confidence builder.
Now, that's an essential skill, obviously, to succeeding at any level of Magic. Is everybody makes mistakes. It's how we recover from them that is really the secret to success.
No, thanks. I'm glad I could save that match. I mean, Magic's a tough game. People always make mistakes, and I'm glad that I could recover in time.
Now, what was it like having such a crazy cheering section? People doing the wave like they were at a soccer stadium. People singing songs like it was like a World Cup match of soccer. I mean, it was crazy. We've never seen anything like that on the Pro Tour before. What was that like having that happen for you?
Those guys, they're a lot of fun. I've known most of them for over 10 years now. And that's the good part about the game. You meet people, you travel together with them, you share your bad beats and your glories. And I was really glad to share this moment with them. This warmth and chaos and friendship and happiness that is the Dex Army.
Warmth, chaos, and friendship. Yeah. I like that. That would make a great tattoo. Lucas, before we let you go, anybody at home you want to say thank you to or pass a message on to?
Yeah, thanks my parents for always supporting my hobbies, and thanks for everybody in Brazil. I'll be back soon.
All right, Lucas, congratulations again on being the Pro Tour Aether Revolt champion. Sending it back to you guys over at the news desk.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Thanks very much to Brian David Marshall and to our champion, Lucas Esperberto. We always hope that the new things we bring to you on the Pro Tour are going to be a roaring success. Of course we do. We do our best to work out what's going to move Magic forward into a new era. And certainly the Team Series was something that we thought, I think we're on a winner there. We couldn't really have imagined just how awesome the Team Series was going to turn out to be. It's been not just amazing in terms of watching teams root for each other, but in the process of getting the teams together, Magic, it's a very solitary thing. You win alone for the most part. But here, much as the World Magic Cup is a celebration of community, the team series has done that here. And the number of individual players, whether that's Ben Stark on CFB Ice or Martin User making it into the top 8 on CFB Fire, Michael Majors, so many players have benefited from coming in to that team environment and really now having a narrative to build on, not just at this Pro Tour, but through the rest of the team series. That for me is definitely my Magic moment of this weekend, just to see how great they've been. Ian, how about you?
Well, I know we talked a little bit about it before, but for me it was the end of the match between Lucas Bertu and Dimitris Triantafylou, yeah. Just seeing, both the difficulties of that match for both players involved, and then it finally coming to a conclusion, and Lucas realizing that he had done it, he had made it to the top 8, and just seeing all of that emotion pour out as he ran over to his teammates to embrace them, and they're chanting and singing songs and everything, and just to see the juxtaposition of the stoic, focused gameplay straight into just emotion bubbling out of everyone was just awesome to see.
Gabby, what's your special memory from Pro Tour Aether Revolt?
I absolutely love the Portuguese/Brazilian cheering squad. It was awesome. It just brought such a great energy down there. It was funny because in the last match they didn't really know who to cheer for, so they've been bursting out, chanting every time one of the players won, and then the last one they were like, a little confused about what to do right there. But even the ambiance down there for the finals match was really great. Both players were playing in Portuguese. They were laughing. They were having a good time. They were having a really good time. And that's something cool. That's not something that you see usually in the finals of a Pro Tour.
And having a good time is what Magic is all about. Brian David Marshall, your Magic moment from PT Aether Revolt.
Honorary mention to getting to have the news desk up on a balcony again. I love it. It's such a great shot. And it's so much fun to be up here. But the thing that I'm going to really take away from this tournament is the follow through of Martin User. I had a chance to talk to Martin User at the Hall of Fame dinner at the start of this Pro Tour season, and he was just like, "Dag nabbit, I ought to be up there." And not in a vain way, not in a way I got cheated, but in a way like saying, "You know what? I haven't done enough to be up there, and that's where I want to be." And he also, as a follow-up to that, said, I know that preparation will yield results, and I haven't always, lived up to my potential in terms of that preparation. And he also said, I want to play decks that I like, that I feel comfortable with. And you know what? He did that at this event. He put in a lot of work, came to his own conclusions about what deck he wanted to play, and a deck that he felt comfortable with. And, all of a sudden, for the first time in 8 years, he's back at the Pro Tour top 8. It's just always amazing to see. It's very easy to just forget that Magic is a game that is very much about hard work and dedication, and Martin really demonstrated that to me this weekend, and that's one of my big takeaways from this event.
Brian David Marshall, Gabby Sparks, Ian Duke here at the news desk. Well, it's been an incredible weekend, the debut of the team series. Dex Army and Dex Third went into battle in the final. Marcio Carvalho can hold his head up high. He went all the way to the final for a second time in the last 6 months. But in the end, Dex Third were first. The champion of Pro Tour Aether Revolt is Lucas Esper Bertu. We'll see you next time.